Hey, what's up guys? Mike Tron. In this video, I'm going to be making some Sprite, okay? Some homemade Sprite. So, I got this idea off of the internet. I came across this older gentleman, and he said when he was younger, they used to make Sprite out of pine needles, okay? Pine needles, all right? And so I'm gonna show you guys how to do it, how he did it. I'm gonna try it out for the first time, see how it turns out, all right? And so he was like an older gentleman, seemed like he was maybe like an outdoorsman, you know what I mean, that kind of vibe. Maybe like a southern, you know, outdoorsman, old school kind of a guy, all right? So shout out to him, all right? This wasn't an original idea. So we know, right, that these needles, okay, they're going to produce a yeast like most fruits and veggies and stuff like that. They can produce a yeast as they start to ferment, all right? And so when you add sugar, okay, then the yeast eats the sugar and it starts to ferment, and it helps with the fermentation process. And that's how you get things like kombucha and stuff. Kombucha is generally green tea. Then it has like a what they use, green tea, of course sugar, and maybe they add probiotics or something like that, but you get the idea. And that's how, so basically when you ferment food, okay, when you add yeast and sugar to like fruits and vegetables, and then let it sit, let a little air get in it, then, you know what I mean, over the course of however long, you notice how it starts to get that carbonation effect. All right, that's how you know you're getting the probiotics, and it's becoming a live food. All right, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna add these pine needles. Got some little pine cones in there. It's that time of the year where the pine cones are little babies. I'm gonna just leave that in there. I cut one open so the fermentation process can go even better, and you know, and we get some of those nutrients and stuff in there. So pine needles, or pine, like pine pollen and stuff like that, has been known to be pretty good, especially for like men's health and having benefits. So it's good to do stuff with pine needle. It's something that's abundant, at least in the area where I'm at, and to be able to find something to do with the pine needles and the pine pollen and stuff when it's that time of the year and that pollen thick. You know what I mean? I like breathing that, getting the benefits of the pine pollen. I don't really have an allergy to it or anything like that. It doesn't really bother me, so hopefully I'm getting the benefits from the pine pollen. Then sometimes, every once in a blue moon, I'll make some tea with the needles. All right, so I got that down in there, right? Now I'm gonna add some sugar. So this is gonna be raw sugar in the raw, okay? Raw cane sugar. So I like to use, when I use sugars, I try to be mindful, unless I buy something that has its own sugar in it. I try not to be religious about it. I try to watch it though. When I buy sugar, if I buy sugar, normally I get like honey or something like that, or stevia or something like that. But if I do buy sugar, I usually try to get the, you know, the raw, organic, natural, you know what I mean, sugar that hasn't been processed. Because these sugars maintain all their nutrients and stuff like that, will help you process the sugar better and doesn't spike you. You probably heard me say that before at least a couple of times. It doesn't spike your blood sugar the same, okay, when it's in its whole food form and not refined or processed and things stripped and stuff like that. All right, so let me see. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do too? He ain't do this, but I'm gonna do it for the sake of, I'm gonna try it out a little bit, not too much, for the sake of adding some yeast to this. Now, the needles are supposed to start to produce the yeast on their own, but I'm gonna use a little piece of whole grain wheat bread, You know what I mean? Just to get some added yeast. Not enough to affect the texture and to feel like I'm tasting bread all in it or anything like that. But just a little piece. The rest of that to the birds or ants and stuff like that. All right, now I'm gonna add some water to this. Then we know air. When I put the lid on a mason jar, we know when I put the lid on, air is still gonna seep in here. I'm not gonna put the lid on too tight. Just enough of some air so it can ferment faster. You know what I mean? Shake it up. So we got the raw cane sugar, we got the pine needles. And like I said, I put a little piece of bread in there for yeast. The process is the pine needles will produce yeast, okay, that will eat the sugars and ferment the liquid, okay, or ferment everything, and it's going to produce like a kombucha liquid, like a carbonated liquid. And they say it's piney, so they say it tastes kind of like Sprite, and maybe even you could add some lemon to it if you wanted to. I never tried this, so I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna come back after. I'm gonna give this probably a few days to let it ferment, because it shouldn't take long. You'd be surprised how fast things become acidic and they ferment. Like, leave a smoothie in a refrigerator for about 1 day, just about 1 day. Next thing you know, it's starting to taste fermented, right? So this shouldn't take long, but I'm gonna probably give it a few days at least. Come back, taste it, let you guys know how it turned out and what it tastes like. So I'm gonna call this clean Sprite, all right? If y'all familiar with hip hop fans know heard of Future, especially if you're in my age bracket, you know what I mean? And he had a song, I believe, called Dirty Sprite. So this is clean Sprite, all right? Organic pine needles, little pine cone, whole grain piece of bread in there, and raw organic cane sugar and some water. That's it. And then the probiotic, all the nutrients. And so this is almost like a tincture too, because when you do stuff like this, it extracts all the nutrients from the plant. You know what I mean? And it brings it out and pulls it out. And then also, like I said, once this ferment, now you're getting probiotics as well, okay? Healthy microbiome activity, okay? And all the different diverse and individualized, specific, unique microbes that whatever plant creates, okay? Out of all the probably millions and of, you know, probably maybe even billions of different plant species and stuff in the world, okay? And we always want to have a diverse microbiome, right? And introduce those things to our gut, because it helps with our diversity and intelligence and health and wellness and so many different ways, all right? So, all right, hopefully this was a fun video, a good idea. We'll see how this turn out in a couple days. Get back with you guys. Peace.